Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Wait a minute, girl, can you slow down? Wait a minute, girl, what's the rush now? I wanna introduce myself to you. My name is one-on-one guy to prefer now. I like the way you put your fists together. I like the way you do your hair in the morning. I see why all the boys want you, girl.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here with another Washington Commanders live stream. And in today's live stream, I have a very, very special guest joining me tonight, Rio Robinson from Rambling with Rio. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
What's going on, big dog? They started off-season workouts today to draft this next week. All is well on this end, man.
I appreciate you for coming through. And if you guys don't know who this man is, go ahead and check him out. His links is all over the video and live stream today. And as you quickly jumped into it, man, off-season workouts started today, and that's always a good sign because that means that things are finally getting rolling. Although, for me personally, this offseason has not felt that long. It felt like we kind of just played the Cowboys. But, I mean, I guess that's because we had so much stuff going on to kind of distract us in a sense. And, yeah, you're right, always. But, obviously, this year has been way different because of the thing that we'll talk about later. But before we even get into that, I want to talk about the Jalen Hurts thing. I know, starting with some Philly news, right? But I wanted to start with the Jalen Hurts contract. You were telling me a little bit about it, you know, the actual how it's structured. So do you mind enlightening us who haven't actually looked that deep into what's going on and what's so like different about this contract?
First of all, the number, shout out to Jalen Hurts. He has an all-female agency team. His agent Nicole Lynn of Clutch Sports, LeBron's Clutch Sports, and they got his 5-year $255 million contract. But the most genius part about it, it looks criminal. It looks as shady as that Brian Davis bid for the Commanders when I look at how the contract is set up. But Adam Schefter reported that the salary cap number for the next 4 years of Jalen Hurts' contract is $6.15 million this year, $13.56 million in 24, $21 million in 25, and $31 million in 26. That looks so ridiculous when you see $255 million and $180 guarantee. It looks nuts.
Yeah, I mean, because when I first saw it, someone had told me about it. I looked at it, I said 255. So I originally just divided that over 5. And I'm like, Jalen Hurts, 51 million. But I'm like, obviously, I know they weren't giving him that over the year, like over the yearly salary. But I was thinking more along, you know, much more higher than that.
Them bonuses and them back ends of that deal must be out of this world, bro.
Exactly. And them incentives, man, I wonder what those are too. Obviously the workout bonuses, you know, and like you said, the signing and then the guarantee money. He's making $6 million this year, but I mean 179 of that 255.
I need to see what the bonus is. I imagine he's going to get something like 60-70 million this year. Like I imagine at signing, he's probably getting like 60 something million.
That's crazy, Brandon. I mean, like a lot of people were doubting, Jalen Hurts going into this last season, and although he was my rival and our rival, I should say, I personally didn't have an opinion on him yet. Everybody else was like, had already made this opinion that he couldn't throw the football, and that
was me.
Based off of what you saw, like you're not wrong for that because I mean, what you saw in the past is what you were going off of. Nobody could have expected this from him.
I was foolish though,
right? And then I was like the person that was like, you know what? I don't really know yet. I don't have an opinion made up on him, so I'm not going to say he can't throw the football. I don't know yet, and I'm glad I didn't because normally I'm a part of that. Like the Daniel Jones thing, I was the leader. I mean, that's because I was so like heavy on wanting Dwayne Haskins to work out, you know. So I kind of had this secret hatred for Daniel Jones, really. So I wanted him to like fail because he was with the Giants 1, and then 2, he was in the same draft class as Dwayne Haskins. So I was the leader of that. So it kind of feels good in the sense to not, put my take out there, and it was extremely wrong because I mean I was kind of wrong about Daniel Jones, maybe not to the extent of Jalen Hurts, but I was wrong about him, sadly. But you look at it though like this, and this is exactly why Washington is in a good spot, and it's no reason that we should not continue to build talent around one Sam Howell. Dak Prescott is getting paid a ton of money. I just saw the tweet and they broke it down, but I don't remember the exact how much they're all getting paid. But Dak Prescott's getting paid, obviously. Jalen Hurts just got paid today, and Daniel Jones just got paid. So I think the NFC East, they said the NFC East market or whatever is like around $500 million. And you got Sam Howell at the bottom making roughly like $400K to $1 million. So what is your take on that? And quickly, just my opinion is there's no reason that Washington shouldn't maneuver and make a ton of moves, I guess, post-draft, during the draft, to build around what we already have, because we're not tied up like these other teams are going to be.
You can look at it one of two ways. And one way is that we're in the driver's seat creative-wise because we don't have a large quarterback contract to build around yet, and we're still hoping that guy is Sam. But the other way you could also look at is that the other three teams that are better than us at the moment, they all have a quarterback. They're all established there, and they don't have a question mark at the position. Say what you want about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones went crazy in a playoff game last year, a playoff game that should have been us against the Minnesota Vikings game, but they took care of business on prime time and down the stretch, and we did not. So we're the only team in the division looking up at the other three saying we're still throwing darts at the board quarterback-wise. But what that does mean is that's why you can't be as frugal when you don't have a quarterback. This is your time to spend. This is your time to go on shopping sprees, because when you finally hit on a guy, he's going to take a third plus of your salary when it's time for him to get paid. And it also doesn't depend how great he is. When your quarterback's in line to get paid, you have to shell out the cash for him. Like Daniel Jones shouldn't be making $40 million a year, but you are what someone's willing to pay for you. And when it's your time to get paid, you're going to get paid. So that's how it goes. We got to spend money. We got to make things happen while we don't know what the quarterback situation is. But I'm hoping Sam Howell is it, because I like the guy. I like what I seen in college. I like what I seen at camp and in preseason. And I think we should have saw a lot more of him last season. So I'm excited to see him go.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more on that. Yeah, they got an established quarterback, but I'm looking at it from the positive outlook of it. Like, hopefully Sam Howell is it, and we don't even have to worry about paying him for the next 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So that's the positive outlook I have on it. And you talk about that Daniel Jones game. Yeah, he lit them up, okay, but who wasn't lighting the Vikings up last year on defensive wise? Like, let's be real. And I'm not trying to hate on Daniel Jones. He had a hell of a season, okay, but who wasn't lighting up the Vikings?
Hey, we had a lead on them, but we did not light them up, though.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. That game in itself pissed me off because, yeah, everybody wants to harp on the John Ridgeway. I was a part of that, harping on that penalty. But now, hindsight, looking at it, all that was going to do was going to allow us to have a chance. They didn't guarantee us anything.
Heineke lost that game. I ain't want to hear nothing about Ridgeway. Heineke was wilding in the fourth quarter.
Man, and that's – I'm going to miss Taylor Heineke. And we're going to touch on that because I know you are different when it comes to Taylor Heineke. Like, you don't hate Taylor Heineke.
I don't have a problem with it. It's the hive, bro. It's the hive.
And I'm a part of that hive. I'm sad. Yeah. I'm happy to admit that. I'm a part of that hive, and I hope he goes to Atlanta. He's going to be starting by week 8. I think Desmond Ridder is going to be, solid. But the thing is, when Taylor Heineke's on your roster, he's going to find a way to play. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I genuinely think at some point next year, I was trolling Juris, telling him that Heineke was going to take the starting spot from Ridder. Love playing around because, I wasn't being serious. But I do genuinely think Taylor Heineke at some point is going to find his way on the field for Atlanta next year. But, yeah, so back to the quarterback talk and just this whole division thing. Yes, we don't have an answer right now. But I think we sit in a good spot because say Sam Howell is the guy. Again, we don't have to pay him for the next 3 years. Now, the thing is about it is Eric Bieniemy is only probably going to be here for a year. So it's like, okay, Sam Howell is a guy that's probably going to thrive in his system. What do we do post that? That can be an interesting topic when that time comes. But as you said, he's shown a lot in preseason. You've seen him up close and personal in training camp. So he was looking good there. And then I couldn't agree more with you when we should have saw way more of him than we did in the Dallas game. What did he have? 19 pass attempts?
He should have thrown the ball 35 times.
Huh?
He should have thrown the ball 35 times.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm like, Sky Turner, bro. You're trying to where was this the week prior versus the Browns when we needed this, right? Now you want to be conservative and actually try to take care of the ball. And a lot of that wasn't Scott Turner the prior week. That was just Carson Wentz being Carson Wentz. But needless to say, he had a lot of he's shown a lot of potential in the minimum snap. So it's only like, what do you think he's going to do when he has a much higher sample size? So I think we're all in a good spot in the NFC East, honestly. I mean, yeah, they have guys that's proven it, but I think Sam Howell is finally going to be our guy. You know what I'm saying? And we finally have that quarterback back. You know what I'm saying? That quarterback, that franchise guy, I should say. Last time we had that feeling was Kirk Cousins, and not a lot of people believed he was a franchise guy. But I get the genuine senses that all of this fan base is behind Sam Howell. You may have a few guys that genuinely don't think he's it, but honestly, I feel like majority of this fan base is behind him. Now, let's switch gears and talk about this Brian Davis thing, because you've been on Twitter. You have a lot to say. You are one of the first people I believe that just didn't believe this, believe this whole thing. I made a video on it today, just dropped it like 30 minutes ago. And I'm going to let you take over right quick because, again, like I said, you were one of the first people that kind of just felt like, man, this BS. Like, this cannot be real. What do you have to say about that Brian Davis thing, man? In a public space.
I won't even call it a bid. Like, that joint is all capped to me. Like, that's why, honestly, no real credible media or insiders are really jumping on it. This is like Darren Haynes dying on a hill by himself and the dude from the Junkies. And I don't subscribe to taking substantial information from the Junkies because they're an entertainment show. They really don't provide any analysis or any real legit inside information about the team. Let's call it what it is, bruh. Brian Davis, do we even know he's like a multi-millionaire at this point of his life, bruh? I've read that this man owes money to Sean Merriman and Scottie Pippen. This guy, like, they're trying to concoct ways to say that his business is worth $50 billion. Honestly, it sounds like he put his name in the mix so his energy company could get a boost, because there's no way this guy has even close to the amount of fun. I'm not sure he could put a bid together to buy the Washington Mystics, to be perfectly honest. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful to the WNBA team, but those teams are expensive too. I'm not sure he could buy that team alone, any team in the NFL. And I think it's comical that Darren Haynes is trying to make that happen. And he even doubled down on it. That was just very hacky reporting, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of started to do some research into it. And after finding out that, like you said, Sean Merriman went on Twitter and said he took him to court and got $4 million up out of him. Scottie Pippen, the guy was a Duke basketball star. I think I'm putting star on it as a reach. I looked at the guy's stuff. He only went.
Leitner was the star.
He played for the Timberwolves for 1 year. So I'm looking over like, all right, was he a former NBA star? You know what I'm saying? Getting the money from the NBA? No, the guy played 1 year for the Timberwolves, and that was it. So it's like, where is this guy getting this quote unquote money from? And then then what's making it even more like funny is not the fact that he's offered $100 million more than the Josh Harris group.
No, a whole billion.
That's what's funny about it. It's like this random guy, like, he's not a part of a group, quote unquote. I haven't heard anything about him being a part of a group. He's offering a whole billion, and they said one of it was going to be in cash or something like that. So it's just like, it's weird, you know what I'm saying? And
it sounds like something out of the episode of like Ozark or like Snowfall or one of these drug dealing shows on TV. It sounds like he's asking everybody he knows with cash, and he has a van full of cash, and he's like, "Here, NFL, I have a bid for the team." It sounds nuts, man.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Hopefully, that dies down once this thing, gets closer to inking, because I think we've all came to the realization probably like a month ago that Josh Harris was really like the guy that was going to buy this team, because it took me a while to genuinely feel like, yeah, Dan Snyder's selling this team. Like, I just felt like at any point in time he was going to bamboozle us again, like he's always done, and say, you know what, I'm not selling the team, But it took me until probably like mid to late March to finally realize, like, all right, this thing is legit. And the only name that I constantly heard as a favorite, yeah, Stephen Papadopoulos, heard Jeff Bezos, heard a ton of other guys. But the name I just kept hearing was Josh Harris. Josh Harris, DC native Josh Harris, Magic Johnson. I just kept hearing that. And last Thursday, they kind of made it official that in principle, he's agreed to sell the team to them. It's got to go through, obviously the league, get approved by all the other owners. But in essence, he is the new owner of the Washington Commanders. Let me quickly get your take on that. I know you made a whole video and live stream about that, but I guess almost as it's set in a week, how are you still feeling about that? And give me a little bit of what you expect from Josh Harris.
I mean, for starters, it's a euphoric and glorious feeling. Like, I feel like I'm dreaming sometimes, because as a fan, the best news we could possibly receive isn't even winning a Super Bowl. It's, can we get rid of Dan Snyder? We've been saying sell the team for the majority of our lives. As younger parts of the fan base, me and you have never seen any substantial winning. We have not seen an 11-win season. We've not seen a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns or get a second contract here. It's wild out here to be a younger generation Washington fan. So to finally get rid of a guy who led a team to more name changes than playoff wins in the last 2 decades, it's a euphoric feeling. It's a feeling that, like, a part of you, even though you know it's done, you still don't believe it in a way until he's gone, and until the league votes in the new owners at the new owners meeting. But it feels great, and I feel like we're in great hands. Like, Snyder took over the team as a 35-year-old billionaire with no experience or no liquid assets. He bought the team off of borrowed money from his siblings and investors. Like, he bought the team at 35 with no experience in sport. We're getting a guy now who collects sports like Thanos collected Infinity Stone. Josh Harris owns the Sixers, the Devils. He has a big part in Crystal Palace of the Premier League. This is a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. This is a guy with experience. This is a guy who had a 5% stake in the Pittsburgh Steelers worth up to $145 million. So this is a guy already vetted and approved by the league. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to come in and just treat this team like it's just an asset of his. He's going to actually try to make this team into something, because there's big shoes to fill getting this team back to prominence, and I think he's game. He hired the right people with him. Magic Johnson's not going to have a large stake of the team, but he's going to have a large impact on bringing back the vibes of the fan base. Magic Johnson's smile and charisma alone can light up any room, any venue, and that's going to be a lot of goodwill throughout the fan base. And I'm looking at the Mitchell Rails thing, another DC billionaire with huge influence and sway in the art and architecture world. I see him having a lot of impact when it comes to designing a new stadium. I'm excited about everything that there is to come, and I think Josh Harris is going to hire all the right people to get this thing back on the right track.
Exactly. And one thing that people are already calling us are the Washington process, because he's the 76ers owner, and he took over the 76ers, that's when they started the whole trust the process thing. Mm-hmm. And what I have to say to that is, when he took over the 76ers, they had nothing, okay? They had Joel Embiid, they had Jahlil Okafor, Nerlens Noel. Like, they had so many first-round pick centers. I don't even understand why they kept going after centers. I mean, finally they hit with Joel Embiid, but even after 2 years, he was like 2 to 3 years, he was first hurt when he came in the league.
Yep.
it won't be the Washington process when he takes over this team because this team is already talented. Okay, I genuinely think, especially how the NFC is shaping out, we're legitimately, yeah, you can say the offensive line needs fixing, but we're legitimately Sam Howell being good to great away from competing in this NFC because our offense, talent-wise, with Eric Bieniemy now taking over, is going to be amazing. I like our defense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we can still use a slot corner or in another corner. Still could use some linebacker help. Could use some edge rushing depth in my opinion because F.A. Obata, James Smith-Williams, Shaka Toney, Casey Toohill don't blow me away. But I feel like this team is ready to win. Just it's all on the shoulders of Sam Howell, generally. So it wouldn't be the Washington process when he gets here. But the thing is, like you said, I'm super excited about it because he's proven that he has had success. His New Jersey Devils are in the NHL playoffs. His 76ers is 1-0 lead over the Brooklyn Nets right now. And Magic Johnson, was with the Los Angeles Lakers as a player and as on the business side, and he was successful there. The LAFC, and I believe they just won like the championship in the soccer thing. So it's a lot of winning going on here and a lot of people knowing what to do and how to run a professional sports organization. And that's what I'm super thrilled about. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't agree more with you on that. Now I do want to ask you something because you were a season ticket holder. And there was this thing about Dan Snyder, I guess, like getting over on the season ticket holders. Were you ever like affected by that, or do you know anybody that was genuinely affected by that? Like,
I don't know anybody affected by it. And I was only a season ticket holder for the last 2 years, so this predated me by like a decade at least. It was in the earlier 2000s when they had the full waiting lists and stuff. What they were doing was they were not giving fans back the deposits that they initially put to secure season tickets. There was a deposit fee to get on as a season ticket holder. They weren't paying the fans back. It was pocketing the money. So, it sounds typical Dan Snyder, to be perfectly honest, the white collar criminal that he is. But yeah, man, I'm so glad that we can finally move past that thing. Shit, I wish I was a part of it. I wish they could hit me off with a check or something, man, for some of these Sundays that I sat in that stadium. Just nasty, man.
Yeah, I feel for you, man, because it's like I only went to the Jaguars game last year, and that was a really good experience. You know what I'm saying? All right, so let me say this, okay? I'm gonna get your take on it too, obviously, because I mean you're gonna be there more often than a lot of us, including myself, and I'm pretty sure at the new stadium you'll be live front and in center more than a lot of us plan on being. Your FedEx Field experience, man. Yes, it's a dump, okay? It's a dump. All right, it's the worst stadium in the NFL, probably in sports, right? Okay, I understand it. But honestly, Rio, man, I've only been a handful of times. I've been in a handful of preseason games. Went to the Jaguars game last time. Went to the open practice. Every single time I've been to the stadium, I've had a pretty good experience. And that's before Jason Wright, before the whole change. Even back when we were the Redskins, and I went to a couple games back then, I've never had a bad experience at FedEx Field. So it's kind of like maybe I'm a lucky one. But like, do you feel like a little bit of the I guess hatred and talking about FedEx Field in a negative way? Do you feel like it's a little bit overblown in a sense, or is it worth every kind of down talk that it gets? And how's your experience been being a season ticket holder for the past 2 years?
See, the thing is, the experience and the actual venue are two complete. Like, the venue is terrible. The stadium is awful. It's falling apart. Nothing looks good. The seats don't match. The lines don't make sense. Even the gold member season ticket food lines, they get crowded by people who aren't season ticket members, and they don't really check that sort of thing out. But I always have a good time at the stadium. It's fun as hell to be around diehard fans on a regular basis. I always have a great time tailgating. Before the game starts is amazing time every Sunday, no matter who we're playing, especially when we play against a divisional rival. It's the vibes are what you make it. If you're not socializing or having fun with people and having a good time, that's on you. You know, you're going to have a good time at any stadium. I don't care what state. You could put us to play a game at a high school stadium. I'm going to have a good time there, especially if I paid my own hard-earned money to watch it be played. I'm going to have a good time. But the stadium is terrible. The playing surface, the aesthetics, it's awful. Things have improved since Joey Kobe Begovic and Jason Wright took over those aspects of the organization. So the experience has got better. And like it's nice now. Like we score now. There's fireworks and they're shooting things have got better. But overall, things won't truly dramatically improve until they get into a new venue. But for now, before we get there, let's pack it full of burgundy and gold again. Like it gets depressing watching 60% of the field being taken over by Vikings fans, Giants fans, Eagles fans, Cowboys fans. It happens too frequently. Like at least with the divisional games, I understand it in a way based on where we're located. It kind of made me feel terrible. The blackout game versus Minnesota, that half or more of the stadium were Vikings fans. I didn't know they traveled that well. I've never seen the color purple that much in my entire life, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and to touch on that, you're right, bro. Like, I went to the Jaguars Week 1 matchup. I'm like, it's there that this. First of all, not that Jaguars fans travel, but I'm like, there's that many Jaguars fans that actually exist. Like, you know, I didn't even know they had that diehard of a fan base. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're definitely right because I mean, I keep making this comparison to DC Defenders, right? The DC Defenders just won the Northern Division. You know, they got DJ Sperringer out there, Monte Nicholson, Jordan Tamala, you know, former Washington players, and they just packed out Audi Field 18,000 strong. Yep. And majority of those fans are Commanders fans. And I keep making this comparison when I make my videos is that this city, this area, the DMV is dying for a successful football team. We will come out and support. We will buy merch. We will go to every game. We will scream. We will tailgate. We will pack out a stadium. You just got to give us a reason to do so. Yes, and the DC Defenders is a perfect example of that. Now, XFL has done a hell of a job this go around. You know what I'm saying? And they're here to stay, to be honest with you. And the DC Defenders being good is just a kind of a example of what FedEx Field could be like if the Washington Commanders were 8-1 on the verge of clinching an NFC East title. 18,000 packed out Audi Field. I'm talking about 60,000 packing out FedEx Field. We've had that before. 2012 was probably one of the last years where we genuinely had a home field advantage going on. They just posted a video of FedEx Field being packed out. Now, I don't know if that was for 2012 or 2005 because they were saying in 2005 when we like destroyed the Cowboys in the first half, the stadium was rocking. You know what I'm saying? 2012, obviously, I want to say it was the Vikings game. One of the Vikings games I saw on TV, it was rocking. Obviously, the last game versus the Cowboys. We're willing to come out, man, but Dan Snyder has just drained this fan base. Again, one of the most richest and prideful fan bases in sports history and, you know, in sports in general has been drained by one man. It's crazy how one man could do so much damage to an organization. But that happens, you know what I'm saying, when you do the things that he's done for how long. So I'm grateful and glad that it's finally over because I've never thought I would see the day. You talk about being a part of the younger fan base, which you are, but what about me, bro? I'm almost a 20-year-old man, so you know my whole life has been Daniel Snyder, and at least you've experienced the 2005 season. I was alive for, but I was 2 years old, bro. I wasn't watching football, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That joint was lit.
2005 was pretty good, right? But I have it so bad that they literally just asked me what has been my favorite era of Washington football. I can't say the 90s. I wasn't born then. You know what I told them? I said my favorite era of watching the Washington football, Washington Redskins, was 2015 to 2018. Yep. That is terrible in essence of what a lot of other people in this fan base have experienced. I said 15 because we were 9-7, won a division, played against the Packers.
Offense
Probably
was
could have won
crazy.
that game.
Offense was crazy.
In 2016, if Kirk Cousins doesn't Kirk Cousins it up against the Giants, we go to the playoffs again. And then in 17, I think that was the year we had the second best passing offense under Sean McVay. And then in the first half of 18, with Alex Smith, we were 6-3. And that's my best stretch as a fan watching this team. And that is horrible to say out my mouth, but that's the truth. I haven't experienced anything. So I'm dying for change. And I'm super excited about what it is. And yeah, you're right, man. We both are, but I am a little jealous because I mean, at least you got to experience 05. You know what I'm saying? At least you got to experience Sean Taylor. I'm talking about Sean Taylor, and I've never seen the guy play in real life. Like, yes, I've watched highlights and I've watched them, stuff and documentaries. I've never even seen this guy play in live flesh. You've got to see that. You know what I'm saying? So at least you got a little bit of something. Man, me over here, I ain't got nothing but what, a RG3
I promise you, we have about the same amount of nothing though. Like we ain't see. I did see a playoff win, so I can say that though. Like I watched the playoff win happen in a game where we scored no offensive touchdowns in the game, but Sean Taylor to the rescue, housed one versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a good time, but yeah, man, those years you mentioned were the only years of our whole lives where we had a capable starting quarterback available and could play on a weekly basis. That's the only time we ever had that.
Yeah, man, and I feel for you too, but at least I just how electrifying watching that Eagles game must have been, seeing Sean Taylor scoop it up, running down the closest thing I got to that was Chase Young, and love Chase Young. Hopefully he can prove us wrong. A lot of people that believes he's a bust wrong. That's the closest thing I've got to that, and that didn't even hit the same. So, hey, man, we're finally out of the dungeon, Rio. We're finally out of it. Now, let's switch gears and talk about something that's a little bit more upcoming. I know you got a lot of stuff coming up regarding the draft, so this is a good time to have you on to talk about that. 16 is a hot spot for the Commanders, obviously being the first round pick that we have. What do you think the Commanders are going to do at 16, and what would you do at 16?
I know me personally, I would take Deonte Banks or whatever, the best cornerback, the best versatile cornerback, because Banks can play on the outside or the inside, runs a 4.3. We need some speed and some juice desperately in the cornerback room. I think you kind of got to let the board speak to you because you're in the middle of the first round. So there's a lot of ways this could go. I think what's going to happen is we're going to take the best offensive lineman on the draft board, because Ron has never in his 12 years as a head coach taken a corner round one in the draft. And I think that's the trend that's going to continue next Thursday when the draft starts. I think the best tackle/guard that's available at 16, we're either going to stay there and take him at 16, or we're going to trade back and take that player to a decent amount later.
Yeah, that for me, I think I was one of the fans that were like the earliest to put out like we're drafting a corner. I think me and probably I think I saw a tweet from you back in like November saying Washington is going cornerback in first round.
Yeah, I did. I tweeted it too. Yeah.
So it was kind of like, all right, them saying that is not a surprise. Them interviewing Joey Porter, them saying bringing in Valentine from Kentucky, that this isn't nothing that was surprising to us. But with how they want to revamp this offensive line, I definitely could see them selecting a tackle. But they still think highly of Charles Leno. That's what's kind of making me feel like, I don't know if they would draft a tackle in the first round at 16. Maybe if you trade back, I think if Washington trade back, that's going to be the hot spot for offensive lineman. It's just hard for me to believe, unless it's the guy from TCU, Northwestern or TCU. Skronsky, yeah. Unless it's him, I don't think we'll select a lineman at 16 unless we trade back. And then, I saw that you had Osiris Torrance, I think, in the second round.
I think that's going to be the first round pick in a trade back. I think that's a name I really see us taking in the first round. Those mock draft simulators, I think they got it totally wrong. He's not going to be in the second round pick. He's going to be in the 20s somewhere. And I feel like they love him. I feel like he is a Ron-ass pick. If I had to put money on someone being our pick in the first round, it would be Osiris Torrance.
Yeah, I mean, him, I want to go cornerback too. You know what I'm saying?
to.
Deonte Banks is a good guy.
Dog.
Man, I would love to have the branch guy. He's very versatile. I know a lot of people aren't interested in Joey Porter Jr. I wouldn't mind him either, though. It's because this cornerback class is pretty deep, so you can't really go wrong. I mean, I guess you could, but you wouldn't know that immediately. So I'm interested in entertaining that. But in a trade back scenario, how would you feel if Washington was to trade back for the second straight year? Because I think that's a genuine possibility. That they actually trade back, and I wouldn't be mad at it at all, to be honest with you.
It would be a good idea because we flipped Chris Olave into Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson Jr., and Sam Howell, and you're in the middle of the draft, so there's a good chance that the guys atop your board are all gone by the time you're on the board at 16. If there's a player you're in love with, sure, take him at 16. But I think we're already breadcrumbing and foreshadowing that a trade back is coming. And I think that's what they're doing with this Hendon Hooker stuff. I don't think we're interested in drafting Hendon Hooker in the first round of this class, but I think we're trying to let Minnesota and teams in the 20s know we like the guy too. So, hey, we may take him. So I think they're already foreshadowing another trade back could be coming. And I think we can get some guys that we potentially really, really like in a trade back and add some more picks to throw more darts on the board for the rest of the draft. So I think trade back, there's a big opportunity to come. But it doesn't come for no reason. There got to be something on the board people are willing to trade for.
Yeah, so I agree. But, hey, look, this is the first time that he's tried this on me. Hey, look, bro. If you're going to try it on me, at least come with a different name. Don't come with your name that you have already kind of made popular in this community. If you're going to try to get me, come with a burner account or something. You can't come with your name that you already got yourself, known for. So I mean, shout out to you though. I appreciate it, my guy.
No these nuts happening today. No these nuts happening today.
I'm too sharp with it. You know me? So try to come with something else next time, but you ain't gonna get me today, my boy. I appreciate it though. So yeah, I definitely think trade back would be a really good thing. Because I'll be honest, man, 2020 we took Chase Young. Hindsight, we're taking Justin Herbert. Who doesn't do that? Who doesn't do that? I'm pretty sure on draft night you wanted Chase Young. I don't know how you feel about that now, but I wanted Chase Young. But again, Justin Herbert probably would have been a pick. I'm not gonna say I didn't want Tua, but I was kind of on the fence about Tua, because of his size and him being left-handed at the time. I was kind of on the fence about it. But 2020 Chase Young, jury's still on him. I'm not giving up on Chase Young. Love Chase Young, and hopefully he can turn to that generational talent that they put that mark on him. 2021, you select Jamin Davis. He's a project. Hindsight again, you probably don't select Jamin Davis in the first round if you was to do it all over again at 19. And then in 2022, you finally seems like you hit on your first round pick in Jahan Dotson. Rio, I'm a little nervous about these first round selections that this regime has put together. You remember last year in the war room, Martin Mayhew was banging the table for Kenyon Green, right?
Yep.
This fan base would have flipped, not in the moment, but Kenyon Green, the season he's turned in last year. Obviously, you don't know what the future holds for this guy. He could turn around and be one of the best linemen in the NFL at some point. But the season he turned in, if Washington was on the end of that, this fan base would have flipped, because that is now 3 first-round picks that Washington has selected, and none of them has really turned into anything, right? So, Rio, I'm a little nervous. The Jahan Dotson, because I wasn't the biggest fan of it at the time, because I wanted Chris Olave, I wanted Jameson Williams, I wanted Kyle Hamilton at the time. So I wasn't the biggest fan of Jahan Dotson. This fan base this regime makes me nervous when it comes to selecting first-round picks. 3 through 7, I'm comfortable. I know, back into the draft, they're going to give me some depth guys that could potentially turn into key pieces for this team. But the first round, they got me a little shook, Rio. What do you say about that and these first round picks that they've made so far? And are you confident that they'll hit this year on whatever they select?
See, it's not the first round that scares me. It's the second, because it don't matter what regime of person that's coaching or running this franchise. We do not hit on second round pick. It's either they don't hit, something crazy happens in their lives, they don't love football, they're a predator, they're not good. Whatever reason you could possibly come up with to why a player doesn't work out in the NFL, our second round picks do that. Like literally, Preston Smith was like the only dart on the board that has worked here in the second round in like the last like 12 years. Like it's really, really bad. First round, the reason why Ron's first round picks look crazy is because Chase Young hasn't panned out yet. Because Jamin, while he improved last year, and we kind of have to applaud like when a baby takes his first steps every time he does something positive, like Jamin, he looks solid-ish. But Chase not looking generational or even really that good right now is what has those first round picks in flux and has us thinking, I don't know, they're not really hitting on those things. If Chase can start to look like, honestly, if Chase can somehow give us what Montez Sweat already gives us as a pass rusher, I feel like we'd be in good shape. Because I don't mean to be that guy, but I think the ship of him being a great player in this league, I think that ship is already sailed. And I think if we can just get a really good, solid, if he can be Jadeveon Clowney as an NFL player, I think we're solid. I think the whole him being a Bosa Watt brother in that range, I think that ship is sailed. I don't think that we're going to ever see that. I don't think we're going to see 17, 18, 19 sack guy. I don't think we're ever going to see that.
Wow. So that's interesting. Shout out to Engraven Biz, man. What's going on, Engraven? Shout out to you. Make sure you guys go ahead and check my guy Engraven out. Killing it. Massive Baltimore Ravens YouTuber. Shout out to my guy Engraven, always showing love and support. That's crazy, Rio. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we want Chase Young to pan out.
I really do.
But it's like maybe the realization is finally starting to turn around, and it's crazy you say that because there's a lot of fans that believe that, just like you out there, believe that Chase Young is not what we thought he could have been, and looking back on that draft, looking back at his Ohio State highlights, it shows. It really does, because, I mean, unlike the Bosas, he wasn't like a technician. It was really just raw athleticism and size that was allowing him to just whip up on Purdue and Northwestern. Actually, Rashawn Slater went to Northwestern, and we seen how that went.
He was handling that boy in the league and in college. And the thing was,
so besides let me take back Northwestern, Purdue, Maryland, just the whole Big Ten. He was able to beat up on those guys, and I want Chase Young to work out so bad because he has the drive, but it's so many times that we've seen guys that has the drive, the work ethic, and just would do anything to be successful that hasn't panned out. So that's not saying much, but it's like you want to see a hometown guy win. You want to see him work out, and it definitely sucks if he doesn't. And I'll be honest, I know you're saying you'll be fine if he's a Jadeveon Clowney-esque player, but we know we will be hurting because it's like we don't want to have a Jadeveon Clowney kind of guy, especially for what you were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I've dropped the bar so significantly to my expectations that if I can see Chase give me 8 to 10 sacks this year, I'm going to live with that because I feel like that's a good season for him. And I lack Chase. I really like Chase Young. I really want him to work out here. And I want us as fans to be able to objectively have this conversation without people getting their little panties in a bunch and their little punk ass feelings because you think a player is not like, well, if we call it what it is, Chase is like the 4th or 5th best pass rusher on this team, and that's being generous, bro. Like, I can legitly tell you F.A. Abada has a better pass rush plan and pass rush set than Chase Young, and that's not good, bro. Like, no. Like, I don't want it to be this way.
Yeah, man. I would say he's probably the best run stuffer we have as far as edge rushers goes, but I didn't draft the number 2 overall edge rusher to be a run stuffer. I'm getting that in the 2nd, 3rd round. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely want Chase Young. Okay, so right now the discussion is Chase Young or Montez Sweat. You're Montez Sweat.
I think out of the two, Montez Sweat gets the extension to me easily. Like, he's the more available guy. He's more productive and consistent. Montez Sweat can get to the quarterback at will. He can't finish when he gets there, and that's something we need to work on. But on passing downs, Chase Young is not a factor. Like, it's almost like he's not on the field on passing down sometime because he's not a factor on passing down. Like, on rundowns, you see his motor and you see him flying all over the field, coming uphill. On passing downs, if he don't beat you off his first step, you got him. Montez Sweat consistently gets the quarterbacks. He just can't take them down or corral them, but he's still giving us that 7 to 9 sack range that's very solid for an edge rusher. But I think there's a world that we live in where neither gets an extension here. I think they like to keep one of them, though. And I think if they keep one of them, it's probably going to be Montez Sweat unless Chase Young has the Daron Payne-esque contract year.
Ooh, that would be crazy, Rio, to go from trading back into the first round, selecting Montez Sweat, with the same draft class as Dwayne Haskins, then drafting Chase Young, to there been a possibility that neither one of these fellas out here in the future is crazy. And that is something that I don't hope to happen. I want Chase Young to be. I want to keep both of them because I don't have a problem with Montez Sweat. I love Montez Sweat. He's an athletic freak. You're not going to find too many player builds like Montez Sweat in these drafts. You know what I'm saying? But if I have to be honest, I would much rather keep Chase Young because of the upside and where we drafted him and what he can put potential. Like, yeah, Montez Sweat is better right now, but Chase Young's ceiling is way higher than Montez Sweat. I think Montez Sweat.
Is Chase Young ever going to see even a fraction of that ceiling you mentioned, though? Because this is now he's going to be like, he's played 28 games so far. He hasn't gotten any better since he's gotten to the league yet. He hasn't added anything to his pass rush yet. Is he going to?
Besides that preseason game where that sack on Cam Newton got me sized. I'm thinking, all right, Chase, you know what I'm saying? You added a new something to your bag. But I'm just saying, like, I would love to keep Montez Sweat, and I'm definitely not mad if they chose to keep Montez Sweat, but it's just a simple fact, like, bro, we selected you with the number 2 overall pick, and for you to not work out here is not a surprise. I mean, we're Washington, but you're the hometown guy. You got all this hype surrounding you. You're a face of this franchise. It's kind of hard to see us not extending him because of how involved he is. Like, it'd be different if Montez Sweat was a face, but he's one of the faces of this franchise, and it definitely would suck if we had to get rid of him. But hey, if we chose Tez over him, I'm not mad at all because Tez is right now way better than Chase Young.
Yeah, from football, he's substantially better than Chase from a football standpoint. And we got to keep in mind also this new ownership group that's coming in, they ain't draft these dudes. They didn't draft these dudes, so they don't have no commitment or prior obligation for any of this stuff. They building it,
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be an interesting top, man. I just wish there was a world where we could both of these guys just go off for 15 and we could re-sign both of them. But we know that's not likely to happen, unfortunately. And it's kind of sad that we're in this space because, yeah, you can say Chase Young got hurt last year, but it wasn't until like week 10, week 11, and up until that point he had 1.5 sacks on the year. So I mean, I guess reality has set in for Mr. Rio Robinson about Chase Young, and he's came to his first conclusion. Hopefully that changes over the year, and Chase Young is much better. But maybe we have finally just, I guess, have to come to the realization as a fan base that we missed on Chase Young. Like, I don't know. I don't want him to be just a Jadeveon Clowney.
I want him to be great so badly. I want him to be great. I don't want him to be good. I don't want him to be those 8 sack a season guy. I want him to be 14 plus sacks every season. I want that in my core, in my bones. I think that shit passed us though, man.
But it's kind, and then it's kind of like you say, like you're fine if he's a Jadeveon Clowney kind of guy, but we shouldn't resign a Jadeveon Clowney kind of guy. So that means you're comfortable. That means you're comfortable with letting Chase Young walk. And as a guy that we both wanted him, that hurts to hear. Like I'm pretty sure Texans fans, when they drafted Jadeveon Clowney with the first overall pick, they kind of felt like, all right, this guy isn't really much. I'm fine with letting him walk. We're not to that point. Yeah, I know you're saying you much rather have Tez, but I'm pretty sure you're not to the point where you don't want to see Chase not return to burgundy and gold.
I mean, like I want Chase the ball, but I don't attach myself to players, man. That's something I don't do. And at this point, Chase not that good to me, man. And dude in the chat said it's not the coach. I mean, it's not Chase, it's the coaches. Go ahead and watch Chase's hands, and then go watch a good edge rusher's hands and their pass rush plan, and it's a night and day difference. I would love to see Chase be that guy, but if I definitely see a world where he's not here after his contract. Like they may not even pick up his 5th-year option.
Yeah, that's honestly why we're having this discussion right now, Rio, is that's a real possibility. You know, I think they're going to end up doing it, but that's a real possibility. That's why we have to say the Montez or Chase. You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like not picking up his 5th-year option is just shooting your own self in the foot, not giving you one more year. Even if you don't want to re-sign him, you much rather have a year where he's on your team than he's not. Because, I mean, this is not saying much, but even though Chase Young hasn't panned out just yet, he's still light years better than what you would have if he's not on the field, to me. You know what I'm saying? F.A. Obata was cool last year, right? I'm not comfortable with F.A. Obata playing 40 snaps, 30 snaps a game for 17 weeks. I would much rather have Chase Young out there with one knee like he was for the final 3 games of the season than F.A. Obata, Casey Toohill, and the rest of those fellas. James,
you know what's crazy? 2021 Chase Young was F.A. Obata. He was F.A. Obata, bro. Like
I can't disagree. I can't disagree.
Gus Bus in the chat when dude posted that thing today about Kansas City's rotational edge rusher Michael Dana and compared him to Chase head to head and for pressure rate and sacks and all that in games played. I looked at it like, damn, bro, Chase on the rate of a developmental edge, bro. Like, yo, that hurts, man.
It's not even that it hurts because it's Chase Young. It hurts because of the pick we took. Man, if we took Chase Young at what did we take? Where did we take Tez? 25, 23?
26 or something like that.
26. Yeah. If we took Chase at 26, we wouldn't be tripping if he wasn't really like if he was in the same spot right now. It's just the fact we're tripping about it and we wanted to work so bad because he got taken at number 2. Guys, hindsight, we're taking Justin Herbert, and we wouldn't even have to be talking about a quarterback. Now, again, you don't know if Justin Herbert would still be the same Justin Herbert that he is in LA, but we're taking him. Honestly, no one should be blaming Ron for taking Chase number 2 because basically the whole league would have done the same thing. I agree.
I want to shoot him the bell like he got hurt towards ACL. Nick Bosa towards ACL year 2. He just won Defensive Player of the Year last year. Joe Burrow towards ACL rookie year. He's taking his team to conference championships and Super Bowls. So it's like, I mean, what are we doing? Like all these dudes get hurt, man. I know his is different because the patella tendon and all that, but we can't throw him that bell. He has to produce, period.
So, yeah, and again, up until that point that he tore his ACL, he only had 1.5 sacks on the year back in 21. So it wasn't like he was producing anyway, but we're praying that Chase turns out. You know what I'm saying? We want him to be here. I got his jersey. He's from the same area that I'm from. So you know I'm going to rock with him more harder, him and Jared Patterson, than any other these other fellas on the team because they're from the same area that we're here. He's a hometown guy. So we want him to thrive, but I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not mad at anybody that keeps it real and just and genuinely thinks that he's not, you know, he's not that generational guy, you know. So, hey, appreciate you for keeping it real over there, man, and everybody else that genuinely agrees about Chase. You know what I'm saying? I'm not mad at y'all at all because again,
I don't want to be right. That's the thing. I don't want to be right about that. I want him to be great.
Yeah. I do too. We all do. You know how many Chase Young jerseys I see in the stands when I go out there. Well, I only went to the Jaguars game. Saw a lot of Chase Young jerseys. You know what I'm saying? And the 99 looks so clean, man. Just imagine how clean it would look on a sacking a quarterback for a game. Like that 2020 year, that picked up fumble 6 was so like amazing. And I'm like, Chase Young, bro, this is the start of something, bro. Sam Mills, why did you have to ruin my guy? Nah, I'm kidding.
Yo, Sam Mills. Yo, everybody hates Sam. He just never looked like he was capable of coaching guys that look like the guys we have on our D-line.
Bro, Sam Mills is the same height as me. I'm probably taller than him, and he's trying to tell a 6'5" Chase Young what to do out there. They probably looking at this dude like, bro, like what you know about edge rushing, bro? Like that's why guys like John Allen and Deron Payne love Jim Tom Sula so much, because I mean I guess he could relate to it, man. I was kind of pissed that he walked away, but it was a different regime. But we're about to wrap it up here soon, probably 5 more minutes, and we'll go ahead and call it a night. So any last questions you have for me or my guy Rio Robinson, drop them down below. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out Rio. My man's on the road to 7,000 subscribers. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button over there. Click the title. You know, his name's right there, or check the description. It will be right down there. Got a ton of content coming out. I know he's doing the draft thing. He's doing the content, a creators draft. I still got to put together my junk because I'm trying to see who I want us to select here.
No, you got go from the point of what you think's gonna happen. Make your prediction. Don't go off your opinion. Do what you think's gonna happen at 16.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I think last year did I go Chris Olave last year?
Bro, we all went Chris Olave. We was 0 for 36 on my content prediction last year.
Like I was between Chris Olave or Kyle Hamilton, and the fact that they were both right there. Oh my God, my bad. Both right there. Yeah, it kind of, but hey, Jahan, in hindsight, I'm fine with the pick, okay? But back then, last April, I was like, wow, we really just did that. But do any of the Terps get drafted other than Banks by the Redskins? I don't really know no other Terps coming out. I think
they got a couple guys. They got a couple guys. The tackle, I believe his name is Jalen Duncan. He's good. He's probably going in the first couple rounds. I like the kicker. If we take a kicker at the end of the draft, Chad Ryland. I like the corner opposite. Opposite Banks too. Jacorian Bennett is a 4.31 guy. Like in the mid rounds, you take a guy that can fly like that, and his production was not bad opposite Banks as well. So there's a couple guys there. There's the Dante Demas. He came off a catastrophic injury and came back 6'4" receiver, great side. Oh, and Raheem Jarrett. Oh my God,
Raheem Jarrett's coming out this year?
Yeah, Raheem Jarrett can be the new Curtis Samuel in the mid to late rounds. Like that. I like Raheem Jarrett. I think he's going to add to something as a returner.
I did not know he was coming out this year. I felt like
a few Terrapins on the board, man. It's going to have some Maryland guys getting taken this year.
My man, hey Scott, he said, Rio, what happened to the beard, bro?
Yeah, I had to get rid of it for work, man. Yeah, I would never cut my beard willingly, man, but I had to let it go for a little bit for starting a new gig.
It'll be back next week.
Yeah, no more. This stuff comes back in like a day or two, man. But so I'm rocking the prepubescent puberty face right now.
Because I'm feeling a little worse. Command says I'm feeling a little worse to the first year for us. I think EB is going to have the old burning fools. Yeah, hey. I am excited about what Eric Bieniemy brings to this team, even though it may be for 1 year. That's why I'm kind of trying to preach and prepare everybody, even though we know that. I still feel like a lot of people are going to be surprised when at the end of next season he's not going to be back here, and they're going to be like, well, we should have kept Eric Bieniemy. Guys, he's not going to be here no longer than next year, especially if the year goes to how we but want it to go. He's not going to be here. He's probably going to end up
unless he gets the gig.
Do you see that happening though? If we have a good season, like if we go 12-5 and we go to the playoffs, win a playoff game or two, do you see the new ownership shifting gears to Eric Bieniemy? I don't see that. Honestly,
I don't see anything short of a Super Bowl keeping Ron Rivera as the coach here. I think they're going to amicably part ways at the end of the year, and they're going to move on. Like, think of it like someone who purchased the business. People that buy businesses or buy teams, they don't usually keep the inherent decision makers unless there's a legend or like someone like who's built a long career of prosperity there, and even they get let go of. They're like, we need to start. They have to put their own blueprints on this organization. So next in 2024, I expect to have a completely new coaching staff, but I think the best change is the first change that'll come. They're going to give us a real organizational structure. They're going to hire a VP of football ops and a general manager, and they're going to hire the coach in collaboration with the owner. I think that's how next year is going to play out.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm not surprised at all if it plays. And I think it plays out like that if it goes to trash. Like if Sam Howell's not good and the team is again mediocre, 7-9, 8-8 again. That's when I think it. But hey, I don't necessarily think that is out of the realm of realization that even though Ron may win to us 2 playoff games, you're not my guy. I didn't bring you in here. Dan Snyder did. So you could be gone in a heartbeat. So I definitely could see that planning out. I think the owner tells Ron to move upstairs or secretly allow EB to call all the shots on the field. I don't see Ron Rivera being a guy to move upstairs. I don't know. I know it's kind of becoming a thing with Bruce Arians and a couple other people. I don't see Ron being an upstairs kind of guy. He just seems like either a head coach in this league or a retiring, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my life playing golf kind of guy.
Golf and walk dogs with my wife and family type of guy. But also, people have to forget, like, Josh Harris has no ties to Ron Rivera, bro. Like, Josh Harris don't owe nothing to Ron, and Josh didn't hire him. And Ron, the majority of his tenure here, we've been mediocre or less and haven't made the playoffs. So he's coming in. He's going to give Ron a year of evaluation, and anything short of like an NFC championship, to me, they're going to do what they came here to do, which was rebuild this thing. I don't really see any way that Ron is the coach going forward after this season coming up.
Okay, that's a really good take. Interesting take, I should say, too. And not necessarily because, again, Ron is just this good guy in Washington and he shouldn't be back. But it's how you're saying it is. Like, even if he has a successful season, you still don't see him being back unless it's a Super Bowl win. That's very interesting. What about your guy Jason Wright? What about you? What do you think about his future here in Washington? Do you think he's going to still be around?
It appears he's part of the plan, and the NFL, I would imagine they want their only young black charismatic team president that's actual thorough, savvy, and communicates well for the team to be in place. The whole thing is, I'm not setting that bar for Ron. I'm telling y'all that this is how it goes when new ownership comes somewhere. People don't keep their jobs. Ron lost his last job. Why? Because 12 weeks into the season under new ownership, the new owner said, we'll give you a head start on this thing, guy. We're going to let you go here now. We're going to let you guys go like right now.
Yeah, that is true. Because we were the team that essentially get him fired. Darius Geis, false hope again, second round pick, as you mentioned. Although he wasn't necessarily just bad talent wise, he would have been really good. He just did some crazy stuff off the field. Ryan Anderson is another guy that I don't know why I had false hope for Ryan Anderson all the time. I always gave him the benefit of the doubt.
Playing edge rusher.
I always gave him the benefit of that doubt. But back to the thing is though with the Panthers, they were bad. They were horrible. So it's kind of like I could see what you're talking about, but let's say that Panthers were a playoff team. Yeah, you're the owner, but do you really want to mess up what these guys have already built here as far as the players, the culture?
They haven't built it. They've put together a decent roster and some camaraderie. They haven't built anything. We backflipped into one playoff appearance. They haven't built anything. Like they have not. They've left the roster in good shape for the next coach, but that's nothing to make a new owner go, we should keep this guy. And I like Ron Rivera the person, but there's nothing been built here that says that we should have to do that. I don't know.
Hey, I think otherwise. I ain't gonna lie. I think if Ron is terrible, that's when he gets out of there. But I don't know.
I don't
Maybe
think they
I'm wrong.
fire him in season, but I don't think that they retain him going forward because
That's crazy.
I don't see the point of new ownership keeping a coach there that's been continued mediocrity. Like I don't see the point in it.
But
Like
yeah, no, I agree. I agree to a certain. I think if he's not good, if he's just flat out trash, 3-13, you're gone. If you're mediocre,
he
then
doesn't make it to the end of the season that way.
if you're 7-10, 8-8, like he was his first 3 years, he's gone. But if he's 12-5, 11-6, and he wins two playoff games, and Sam Howell's showing promise, I don't see a way that the ownership, man, there is a way, but I don't think it would be smart for the ownership to mess that up. But I mean, hey, like you said, I'm the new owner. I can do whatever I want with my team. I mean,
I've seen Doug Peterson win a Super Bowl and get fired 18 months later, man. Like,
so that's definitely a realm of possibility. So,
yep.
All right, last we'll take probably two more. No playoffs to the NFC Championship. Hey, I mean you can never.
That's the thing. That's not I'm not setting the bar. I'm telling you what I think it would take for a new ownership. Like people can't look at things from a big picture standpoint. People look at things from a very small burgundy coated lenses standpoint and not see big picture. Like think of it like you're buying a business, bro. And the guy that was currently running the day-to-day in the building that you bought, he did all right over the last couple years, but
you think you
just bought a company. You're going to put your own blueprint and fingerprints on how the whole thing is going to run. You know, like you don't they have no ties to this guy, just like he has no ties to these players. So they're going to get a year of evaluation. And I think it would take something drastic to keep these guys here because I see no point of it. This team needs fresh blood.
Big Dub Network says, I disagree. If we make the playoffs, then Ron keeps his job. I still think he'll step down and gets promoted. I don't know. I don't know if Ron steps down. I mean, he's 61. He'll be like 61. Maybe he steps down. I don't know. I think Ron either gets fired or he'll be around because I don't even think he wanted to get rid like the Panthers job. You see Ron, and do you see a way Ron makes the playoffs? We have a good run, and opposed to him getting fired, he steps down.
I think regardless of how the season plays out, I think Ron retires at the end of the season. And I think that's the amicable way they amicably part and they make it look like it's in goodwill. Like, we don't want to fire you. We like what you've done here. You're a good guy. You're well-respected league-wide. Like, I think that's where we're headed. Like, people don't understand. They don't have any ties to this guy. They're like, oh, you don't want to mess up this. You don't want to mess up that. It's like, bruh, they are the new owners of this team, and Josh Harris is an analytically driven guy. They're not going to keep this coach because some fans want them to keep the coach. Like it's more complicated than that. And as much as we could like Ron, they ain't done nothing here for us to be like, oh my God, there's no way we can move on from Ron Rivera going forward. So hey man, I want us to ball out.
Yeah, and I honestly don't think fans are looking at it from like the oh my God, I don't think we can get rid of Ron kind of thing. I think they're looking at it kind of like what I was saying of like if he has a hell of a season 2 playoff win kind of thing, and this thing is actually looking like it's moving in the direction that it should be moving, I don't see them moving on from him. But I mean, hey, again, like you said, because I'm not gonna lie to you. Nah, I'm gonna be real. If I was in charge of this thing, if I had a billionaire company. And I just bought the Washington Commanders, and I'm giving 1 year to Ron Rivera, and the thing is finally turning around, and we go out there and win 12 to 13 games, 2 playoffs games. I'm gonna keep them. You know, I was about to say I would want to bring my own guys, but only if things start to go off the rails. But I just
think you got to look at the data. Like you got to look at the data of the coaching staff and think in 2024. Do I really want my team being ran by a bunch of old guys who think about the game from a decade that's not now? And I think when you put all the data in a pot, it doesn't make sense to have these old ass guys coaching the team. Like I would be looking, the first phone call I'd be making after I hire a president and a GM would be to somebody like Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator in the offseason. Like that, like it's time that we have to get some young, fresher blood in this building at some point. And it's more than win-losses when it comes to retaining the coach. Like Ron has coached for 12 years and still can't handle clock management. Like, we literally hired old boy, the quarterback, the former quarterback's coach, to be a game management guy. He's a professional Warren Ron when to call a timeout guy.
Basically a get back coach, but not a get back coach.
Yeah, pretty much.
If Hooker falls to 47, don't you have to take him, especially after the Hurts experiment turned out so well for the former second round rounder in Philly? I don't think so, only because, I mean, the Eagles kind of prepared themselves for that. They knew, like, Howie Roseman already knew Carson Wentz was a guy that you can't rely on, so we might as well do something like that too. And in the event it happens again, we already are preparing ourselves. We're not in that because we don't even know what we have in Sam Howell just yet. We don't know if Sam Howell's going to be the guy. You know, this is going to be his first year getting the keys to the car, so it wouldn't even be smart to go ahead and get a Hendon Hooker in the second round. Again, the difference is they already knew Carson Wentz couldn't stay healthy. And he was mentally fragile, and the things were starting to unravel there in Philly. We don't know what we have in Sam Howell yet, so it would be stupid for Washington to draft.
I think Hooker goes in the first round too. I think he's going in the 20s in the first round, but I don't like. I think Hendon Hooker is a decent prospect, but I don't like his age. I'm not 25. Yeah, he's going to be 26 at some point this year. Like, I don't want rookie quarterbacks at 26 years old. Rookie quarterbacks need time to develop. At 26, you would need to already be you're Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert's age going into your year one, coming off an ACL tear. I'm good.
Right, and my man Sam Howell was 22, about to be 23.
Yeah, I'm good.
But hey, man, I'm going to wrap it up here. I appreciate my man Rio Robinson for joining the stream, the show tonight. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Rio Robinson's channel. The links are down below in the description, and the name is in the title. So go ahead and give my guy a follow over there. Stay tuned for all the content coming from my channel and also Rio Robinson's channel. Any final words you have before we get out of here, Rio?
Hey, man, shout out to Washington Commanders Nation. Let's get my guy Juan the 6K. Let's get me the 7K in Washington. Guys, fans, let's unite. The dweeb is gone. We can argue civilly and disagree about things without taking things so emotionally. I promise we can have the different opinion about sports and it not get personal. Just keep it sports. Keep sports because we're supposed to enjoy this, right?
Hey, I couldn't agree more. So, with that being said, as always, it's me, your boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe. Hell to the Washington Commanders. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button again if you haven't already. See you guys next time. I'm out. Hey. Cross me one time, that's gonna get you pop.